So I do like a word of the year. So last year was abundance. This year the word is deserving, right? Ooh. So I had to realize, hey, I'm deserving of the things that I want. Like, I deserve to be a successful designer.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dolapo. As Black women, we represent 42% of new women-owned businesses. That's 3 times our share of the female population. I want to shed light on this new generation of Black businesswomen and really dive into what it takes to build a brand. From early learnings to exploring how they face deep inequities in access to capital and how they're ensuring their businesses will last for future generations.
Hey guys, it's Imani here, designer and curator of Sabaa Goods. Thank you so much for tuning in.
This is Hustlenglow. Living in New York, I always feel the need to like wear hats, but I have a slight problem. My head is way too damn big. Thankfully, we have the owner of Sabaa Goods, Imani, who created this season's bucket hat. And let me tell you guys, it's actually poppin'. So we're gonna talk a little bit about how she researches products, how she designs her own, and how she's building her brand all by herself. Imani! Hi, baby! I love this snakeskin suit.
Well, thank you. My best friend gave it to me.
I'm really excited to sit down with you. You're a recent business owner. You just started your business. So why don't you just first introduce yourself, tell us who you are and where you're from.
I am from Chicago, Illinois, but I call myself a shy Yorker. Because I've been in New York for a little while now. So I think it's okay for me to throw the Yorker in.
I've been here for like 5.5 years, so maybe I can call myself a Cali Yorker. It doesn't. It does not flow. It does not flow the same way. So you came from Chicago. You've been here for a minute.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your career journey thus far and just how you've navigated the space here in New York?
So I originally came to New York to study dance. I went to SUNY Purchase Conservatory of Dance. Great program. Loved it there. And after I graduated, I was dancing a lot. I was doing like a lot of freelance work, a lot of acting too on the side. And then I got into fashion. I picked up a stylist gig for a stylist named Zoe Costello out in California. That was kind of my personal introduction into fashion. And I realized that I did not want to do styling. I was like, if anything's gonna break my back like this, it's gonna be dance.
Yeah.
So I went back to dancing. So I started dancing for a little bit, and then my friend at the time, Brandon, he had a line called Brandon Blackwood, and he just asked me to join. So it was just me and him. And I worked with him for about a year, and then after that, I worked with Swarovski. And then now I'm back with Brandon.
If you guys don't know, Brandon Blackwood is a new up-and-coming designer brand. He's based in New York. He's a Black man. It's amazing. So it's a Black-owned business. And basically, his purse broke the internet. You've probably seen the End Systemic Racism bag that blew up when Kim Kardashian wore it that first time. And everyone's been getting it. It's such a dope bag. All of my friends have gotten it, and it's been featured on Vogue. Where else?
We have Forbes, Vogue, Glamour, Vanity Fair, CFDA, CR Fashion Book.
And you're the Chief Content Officer, right?
Yeah, so I'm in charge of content and then also SVP.
Wow. So that's a very up-and-coming brand. It's a small team. You said how many teams?
It's just 3 of us.
As you know, Black women make up 42% of new women-owned businesses, which is a lot. That's 3 times the population. And at the same time, you know, we're in this place that we're growing these businesses, so we have these ideas, we have the boldness and the work ethic to create these businesses, but we're just also trying to figure out how to sustain our businesses, how to continue past the industry mark of 5 years. Tell me, like, were you always had dreams to be an entrepreneur, or was this something that came out of nowhere?
I was actually moving back to Chicago in November. I made the decision like I can't do New York because I had lost my job because of COVID, and I didn't want to run out of my savings. I was really upset. Like I felt like I was failing, like because I had to move back home, and I haven't been back home since I was 17. So I was preparing to leave New York. I had my going away party. I sold everything in my apartment. Like the only thing I kept was a bed and a TV. I started to try to create content, but then I wasn't making money. I couldn't find a job. So I was getting ready to leave. And then Brandon hit me back up saying, hey, I can bring you back on board. So then I started working with Brandon, and this is a time where the ESR tote just blew up. So there was a lot of late nights, but that fire in me wasn't there. Yeah. So I started to talk to Brandon a lot about it. He was really my inspiration to like jumpstart the brand. Honestly, Brandon's been so hands-on and so helpful. Like, he stayed up with me, like helping me design stuff, like telling me what I need to do, things that I need to know when starting a brand, like how to create the LLC. That's when I said, oh, like, I see how well my friend is doing. I want to have that same success. That is how it all started for me for Sabaa Goods.
What was kind of going through your mind when you then were like, okay, you had this idea of this hat, or what came first?
The hat was the first idea, but hats is not something that everyone wears. The great part about working with Swarovski was that it opened my mind to jewelry, which is something that I never wore because I was a dancer and we don't wear jewelry. That was a quick way to be like, hey, like, this is something that I know people would probably gravitate towards more easily than a hat. So then I was like, well, let me add some jewelry. But then I was like, I really love home decor. I basically want to be like a Black owner of like a digital department store. Like your one-stop shop to get like everything that you need and things that you didn't know that you needed.
You're still working on your full-time job, which is basically another startup, another small business. So it's not like it has the infrastructure for you to check out. You have to be on 24/7.
24 hours.
But then you also have your own brand. So explain the balance.
It is quite difficult, I'm not gonna lie, to balance two startups. But what I find myself doing is staying up really late. Like, usually my hours for Sabaa Goods is like 12 to 3. 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Yeah.
That's not a real thing, girl. 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. So I kind of want to go into the nitty gritty of everything, right? Yeah. Like, let's go into, because I think a lot of people who are going to be watching this really aspire to own their own business and to, you know, stake claim, and at whatever age they are. Did you do any market research before going into this and like figuring out how you were going to carve your own personal lane in the industry?
So I, of course, started with the bucket hats, and that was actually, I got that design as well from my grandmother. Had a hat like that when I was younger, so that's why it's called Marie bucket hat. I actually realized that I wanted to make bucket hats because I had bought a bucket hat and I was like, damn, I really love the design, I love the color, but there's something missing. I really want to transform like something that people can identify easily because it's familiar, but also, you know, switch it up a little bit.
Have you seen any disparities in terms of that maybe white counterparts who were starting a business like yourself would maybe have more access to versus you?
I'm still fresh. I haven't ran into any instances like that at the moment. I trust my brand and I trust myself to speak to customers that identify with my own identity for the brand. So I haven't ran into any issues when it comes to that. I'm sure down the line it will be a little bit more difficult, but at the moment I haven't ran into any issues with that. In my full-time job, yes.
That's what I'm saying, your full-time job, I think we can learn a little bit from that too, because you are one of the first 3 employees of this brand. So like, seeing how Brandon Blackwood's brand has, you know, grown, has there been any like circumstances have you guys ran into?
100%. What we're realizing now, since we are like the it brand, that a lot of people want to jump on this bandwagon, right?
Okay.
So all these amazing, you know, companies or department stores want to work with us. However, we as a company, as a Black company, to make sure that we are not losing our identity, but also we're not catering to their needs before ours.
It's a matter of understanding your worth too, right?
100%.
Because like when you enter in these spaces, they're like, oh, you're the it thing, but they're not praising it, the value that it needs to be.
100%.
They're not giving you, you know, maybe, I don't know how it works, but they're not maybe giving you the top shelf.
I think the beauty in that right now, because I'm usually the one that talks, that's like the middleman between Brandon and these big brands, institutions, and corporations. So luckily for me, like, I can catch the bullshit.
Yeah.
So I decline.
Yeah.
I decline people because I know the agenda behind it, and you're not going to use us.
What would you say is like the biggest learning?
For anyone that's interested in starting their own business, especially a Black woman, I say find your lane, like find your niche. Find out what is going to be your thing, you know? I think once you have an understanding an identity for that, it's going to be easier to push forward your brand. So that's key. The beautiful thing about being Black is that everyone wants to be us. So we have to realize we already have that lever. So I do like a word of the year. So last year was abundance. This year the word is deserving, right? Ooh. So I had to realize, hey, I'm deserving of the things that I want. Like, I deserve to make hats. I deserve to be a successful designer. Like, I had to realize and see that for myself so that others would see that in me when they come around me or see my brand.
And I love that you said deserving, because I think a lot of us feel this like imposter syndrome. Yeah. I think that's one of the main barriers. Even though we are at a higher rate creating these businesses, I think at a certain level or at a certain point we get imposter syndrome and we don't feel like we're deserving of our clients, or we don't feel that we deserve our customers, or we don't feel like we deserve that investment or that capital fundraising. And then you find yourself stuck because you have this amazing idea, and it's not the fact that you don't have the work ethic or you don't have the tenacity or you don't even have the strength. It's more of just, you know, you talk yourself into this like oblivion, and you're like, I can't do anything past this because of X, Y, and Z. And you know, a lot of things are against us, so it's hard not 100%. To feel that way. But I love that you had that thing where you're like, I am deserving. Okay, I'm gonna use that as my thing. You are just such an inspiration, and I'm so excited that you are this young 20-something in New York City, shy New Yorker. I'm on Cali, New Yorker, shy New Yorker. We meet on opposite ends of the world, but we're here, and I am just so excited to just see where Sabaa Goods goes.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to like actually sit down with someone of color just to talk to my journey about, because I don't really get the opportunity to do this.
We're here, we're out here, and I'm just excited to see you grow.
You as well.
You think that Sabaa hat is gonna fit this hat?
Yes, we're gonna try it on.
We're gonna try it on? Okay. Thank you for joining the Lowdown with D-Lo.